Alright guys, now as I promised you, after putting the Mountune springs in, a in-car review of how they handle and there's any major differences with them compared to stock. So without further notice, let's get going. Just driving down my neighborhood right now and seem to feel alright. Not hearing any wacky or weird noises. Seems to corner very well. Now, as far as driving over bumps, because I do live in Michigan, which basically has the worst roads in the whole world, I think. Can I feel them? Yes. But could I feel them with the stock springs? Yes. So I can't really say that they're any more prevalent now than they were with the stock springs. This is just in normal mode. The tightness of the suspension, though, feels like it's in sport. I can say that much. In fact, let's switch over to sport right now. Okay, so now we're in sport mode, and basically the steering wheel feels like it just got a little bit tighter. Other than that, the suspension feels just about the same. Let's take it out on the main road here and see how it does. So I'm not hearing any noises after the install, which is a good thing. That's something that you don't really want to hear after you install suspension. Just driving basically normally, and one thing that I do notice is that it drastically cuts down on that, like, that gelatin feel that you get when you hit a bump, you know, where it kind of makes you feel like when you hit a bump it kind of springs you up and down a few times afterwards. That's not there anymore, so far as I can tell. We're gonna take this thing around the block. I did take this to work and back, which was about 50 miles on the freeway. It handled great. I mean, it just handled awesome. You can tell that that negative camber in the front really gives you an advantage in cornering, especially at freeway speeds or above. I only went 70, but I mean, you know, above. Just driving straight off the line here on a normal road, I'm not really feeling any stiffer feeling in like my butt. I mean, I don't feel like I'm in race mode. In fact, putting it in race mode actually makes it feel much harsher than with the springs on it. So I'm gonna have to say that I think that the stock springs were just under pounds per square inch for the dampers that they put in this car. And I think that this spring setup definitely is a lot better than the stock spring setup. After about 24 hours in driving it, after letting it settle, I do know that there's approximately about a 3/4 inch drop in the front with probably about a 3/4 inch drop in the rear. It's not much. I can make full wheel clearance turning without hitting any of the inner shields, anything like that. That's on the stock wheels. We're going to come out to a corner here, which I'm going to take going about 30. See what it feels like here. Felt pretty good. Just continuing on normal roads here. We're in sport mode, and to tell you the truth, feels pretty great. There's a bump right there, but like I said, I felt the bumps when the car was stock, so these springs don't really seem to amplify them whatsoever. The car drives just like it did whenever it was stock. It turns a lot better. I can notice the negative camber up front. One thing I would advise is getting an alignment to get some of that camber and toe in the rear end taken out of there, because what you want is, you know, negative camber up front is always going to give you better control over the vehicle and steering, but when it's in the rear it tends to kind of cancel that out and make it not as great. So definitely getting an alignment on this probably here at the end of the week, just to get the rear straightened out. And obviously the front camber is not adjustable, so you got to live with what you got, which probably gave you about another degree negative of camber. But so far driving on the roads, I don't know if you guys can tell, you're in a fixed position on my GoPro. which this is my first GoPro video, so go easy on me. But you're in a fixed position just like I am, and you're seeing all the bumps that I'm seeing, and I really cannot tell a difference in these bumps over stock. In fact, here's a pretty decent one. I mean, that hit just like stock would. The only thing is that I can feel with these springs is that it rebounds a heck of a lot better than stock. I mean, after you hit a bump with stock, it feels like you're kind of float a little bit until it straightens back out. With these springs, you hit a bump and it goes straight back to where it was. But other than that, driving it feels really good. I mean, it's real centered. Just the steering wheel itself, I mean, barely touching it does, I mean, wonders for the grip on the road. It's got quite a bit of it, and it just feels good. So, I mean, if anybody's looking to put springs on their car, I would definitely recommend the Mountune springs, especially over the iBox springs, because the iBox springs just lower the vehicle more and don't really put any more stiffness into them. So you're just gonna end up with a low car that bounces all over the place, and that's not the idea of putting springs in a vehicle. In fact, I've always been reluctant. I've had 3 vehicles. I autocrossed 2 before this that I built, and I've put in springs and coilovers in one of them, and then just springs in the other one. And I always kind of didn't like that because it was my daily driver also, so having coilovers, you know, so low, or the springs that I had in my SVT Focus were KWs, and you know, they said 1.5 inch drop, and they ended up being about 2 1/4 inches drop. It was just chewing up tires like crazy. But these aren't that bad at all. I mean, the camber's not bad enough to where it's going to chew your tires up. Just make sure you get an alignment, and I mean, the ride on it is essentially, you know, a stiffer feeling of stock. I mean, not stiff to where you can feel it like uncomfortable. I mean, this is a stiff car. It doesn't make it any more stiffer or uncomfortable than it does stock. It's just when you're cornering and when you're driving, you feel like you have a better grasp of the road, I guess. Like my steering wheel is, you know, I can feel the road through my steering wheel, and that's usually normal when you're getting a lot of you know, you get into the grooves of the road and whatnot. When you have negative camber, you start feeling that, and basically it's not a bad thing necessarily, but otherwise it does a pretty good job. I have nothing to complain about, and I'm actually happy that I did them. Like I said, I was a little bit hesitant. I didn't want to do springs on this car, but for the amount that they lowered the car, which really, like I said in the video, I mean, Corvette's still lower. So, and most of us that have these cars, we drive in a manner where we know not to go and try to drive over, you know, parking bricks and whatnot. But, so, you know, I mean, obviously keeping careful. I will tell you though, I work in Warren, and if anybody lives in Warren or in Michigan or knows anything about Warren, it's probably the worst streets in Michigan, and I had no problems today. I mean, like I said, bumps I felt with the stock springs, so I would definitely have to give these springs, you know, an A+. So if you guys have any questions, comments, make sure you leave them down below. Definitely make sure you leave a thumbs up. This is one of the better products that I've tried out and put on my car and plan on leaving on my car. And keep subscribing for more videos. And you guys have a great day, and thanks for your time.